After a breakfast of blackberries and calf foraged and mixed for the morning prayer, Gregor hitched and tended the horses that with some convincing, agreed to lend for bread-breaking with the Avars for the kindly lease of their sacred hill. The brick-and-mortar pairs weren't quality mares in royal terms, but in soul and character they were formidable creatures. He brushed their manes as Arek's escorts arrived. The company comprised absent Reyth. She'd wished to come, but Gregor left her to rest in Gestalt's sleep. Her current instability, too risky. So they prepped for immediate departure. An armed escort made Gregor uneasy, but as he couldn't draw the caravan alone, he decided their deterrence and company worthwhile. Rainfall within a walking stick accompanied the fish, and who could only be his most buxom consort, helping him along. Fish. Gregor bowed his head with respect to the elder who'd come to see them off. You're an early riser. The chief's sudden appearance earned the attention of Arek's company, who laid down reins and arms to join Gregor in bearing palms, in a gesture of generosity. His own, the blocks under crux sculptures. I appreciate the resources your people give in aid. The fish's face was hard to read. Its deep lines told no tales. A must for peacemaking, the fish said, dwelling on the valley's peace, bird song on blue breeze. It held so long. Gregor turned to belt a saddle when the fish continued, I need your help, Eshi. I need the goodness of your woman-maker. I will help with anything I can, Gregor said, glancing to the arms of O's watch. The Kalis had risen with spring's promptness. What had happened in the stretch from dusk to dawn to warrant this meeting? The fish pursed his lips into a scrunched expression as he dug into his shirt for his crux. It hung from a string and dangled from his hand. Petrified wood, but not ties. More refined, work. I need the acts your crux promises me. Shall we speak here? Gregor asked. I'll remind you I'm a teacher. If you need arms or warriors, I believe Schneider could be. Let me speak me own matters in me own home. The fish motioned his cane towards a large pentagonal tent adorned with elk bones, a recent gift from another local leader, the Tooth of the Pine, who Gregor had not yet had the good grace to meet. Let Sangar be our sole witness. It concerns your curiosity and our missing speaker. The fish tapped Gregor on the shin with the stick, hard enough to get his attention as he headed away. Gregor sought the counsel of Arek's men, and inferred this as unusual from the woman warrior stocking vials of alchemic meals as she shrugged with no further comment from her curious companions. They too sensed obfuscation, deception. Can you handle things here? He asked. She nodded and gave a reassuring smile. We will be ready, freeze or thaw, whether or no the windfish says fly. What do you do at the first sign of trouble? Gregor asked the escorts. Run, the woman answered. And save their others before the supplies, Boda added. Gregor smiled in approval as he turned. The fish waited for him, watching bouquets of turquoise butterflies drink the morning dew off the bone-white shells of a pair of sunbathing turtles. Lead the way, sir. The fish stood frozen, hand shivering upon the cane. Everything all right? The fish's wan cheeks puffed, eyes closed as he stamped his cane to scare the butterflies away. They's taking me people away. Eshi! An embittered, impassioned and furious phantom cried from death's sleep and rammed through Gestalt's field along a watcher's charted trajectory. Metal feathers fell together about an Avane artifice as Reyth brandished a bayonet, blood in her eyes. The opportunity to intercede, not unnoticed, slipped Gregor by. The bonds of Gestalt broken. Reyth plunged the forearm's length of the Seren blade to the hilt into the man's stomach and ripped through a butcher's bounty to the bones of the sternum. The fish's lady tried to pry Reyth away. Reyth struck the woman aside, again seized the shivering erection of a bayonet, and howled over the guttural sensations of the fish's agony as 4 of Arek's men overpowered and brought her down. In Seren boots and Sophie's blouse, adorned now with ruby raindrops, the girl who cried blood looked a citizen of an Estavak asylum, lost, frothing, having slipped free from her bed shackles. The old fish's wind welled from within him as he cried out in pain, for help and love, that Gregor withheld despite the urge. For had he? No, it couldn't be. Had he witnessed a miracle in Sin's skin, Twish surged forth to beat Reyth. Gregor shouldered his way into the mixture and plied Gestalt as his crossbar to control the mob. "What in the 5 meridians have you fucked, Foxy?" O's voice rose above the clamour. Boda swung a reversed rifle. Reyth braced for impact. Wood smashed forearms, and Reyth squealed. Still, she caught the weapon and grappled for control. Boda spear-twirled and kicked Reyth away, rattled and still green. Gregor turned Boda's disarm into his own, stole the rifle, and threw it away. "Enough," Gregor declared. They heeded even featherless words and let Reyth find her breath, straightening the bloom of a long blouse and clearing her vision instead of seeking the bayonet. Betrayal shook the faces of the Twish, but he needed not their fondness. For their distaste, they were surely better off. Despite mutters of objection, none stepped forth to challenge him. He wondered how far he could push them, how far their fear of being compelled, or the fear of becoming like Arik, would take him. Fear from those deserving his protection. Detestable. The silence held, and itchy trigger fingers remembered to pump their ventcock bolts. Had she found herself hapless and helpless, or preferred it? The dispelled watcher in the care of Arik's warriors, Reyth went unarmed except for a masher on her hip, hung from the rope cinching the blouse. Afraid and free of rage, she disarmed herself for uncertain mercy.
"Eshi, help!"
Reyth called, but if for mercy she reached then from a servant of the Justicar, she should recoil. Fortunate for she, Gregor had lost his way and knew pity.
"I've seen he's betrayed you. I've seen the fickle fish."
"You's gonna bleed for this, you malvus bitch," Boda shouted, and Gregor let them argue, to hear Reyth's warnings and interrogate their benefactor twined beneath the grass stains of a Velkan flag. An enigmatic lady of strange machinations. Never before had she lost her hold, or worked to countermand him. Schneider watched Gregor's regard, aware perhaps of the confusion but surely unable to know its source. Schneider told Noshkri to stay his aid, and together they waited for Gregor's next step, a step Gregor too wished to know. Reyth withdrew from Boda through Schneider's opening, scurrying to the other side of half-pitched hospital tents, only to find herself again surrounded by angry raiders, raised rifles, and glinting bayonets.
"Please listen."
Reyth pled, the cage tightened.
"We's all in danger."
With Ty still recovering, Boda seemed that danger. The grandfather of her child gurgled his last in the arms of witch-wives unskilled in trauma medicine. Arik's son-to-be, Kamut, and Arik's daughter, Mira, mashed a paste of oats and blue jay into bile and gaping guts. "How could you, Ray?" Kamut cried back, cutting through the hide of the fish's shirt. "She's gone berserk," O declared. "I knew it would happen." Boda said nothing, dismounting the blade from her heartland. Gregor gestured patience, ironic and difficult among the throes of a dying man, too old and frail to kick or scream. Could Gregor compel Reyth to truth? She had already once escaped Gestalt's grip, and if not already, overexposure could destroy her mind. Doubt. "I set Gestalt's weight upon her, O. She should not be awake," Gregor explained. O guffawed, and all who heard looked over the stout dwarf and at Gregor. Matured from the curiosity of students craving the words of a teacher, they leered as alienated skeptics upon a false preacher. Iconoclasm. "What? You have an epiphany or something?" O struck Gregor's head, skull against knuckles like two stones colliding. "Fuck it, there's no arguing with you." "O's right," Schneider said. "This fellow has helped us to a small mithrite fortune. Is it wise for us to get involved, Sir Ben?" Greed. "Keep your impulses in check," Gregor said. "Pray, Gestalt, what meaning is there in this transient act from beyond reach? A restless soul roused from wakeless slumber, to take a life at its precious end, to snuff a flicker still bright. Cookware clattered and breakfast was ruined, dropped by aghast Sophie as she arrived. Without a camera, the dough fawned and wretched. Painter of propaganda or no, Schneider was reckless to bring someone so inexperienced as she here. Gregor turned his blade to the bloodied man, losing life under Kamut and Mira. Kamut fled the bundle's point. Mira remained and squared herself between he and the fish. This was it, the end of his time and trust with the Twish. But not before he knew the truth would he leave them be and commit these wonderful people to the fondness of memories. Fish of the wind, whose trial should this be? Is there truth in this omen's accusation? What say you? Answer. The breathless fish, who could not speak, nodded back. Betrayal. For the high crime of treason, Gestalt consumed what little strength remained within him, and took the last of a long life.
Answer.